So balance is something that we think about all of the time. When we're pursuing any sort of growth in our life, when we're growing older, balance changes. Hell, we might just get fatter. It might be harder to get out of bed. Who knows? But if we don't figure out how to do that thing, how to read our soul, how to sit there and think for a second, we're gonna have a really hard time being sustainable about any different thing that we're doing. So for me in general, when it comes to balance,
all life have a balance.
I think about what it is that I want to do in my life. Who do I want to be, right? So for me, I want to be someone that's useful to society. I want to be a pillar in my community, someone that people can rely on for funds if they need them, resources, network, anything, a job opportunity, whatever, right? I want to be that person that someone can reach out to and make that a reality. Now, what does that entail? It entails a lot of these different components of me working on things that I'm not particularly comfortable with right now, right? It's like, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to be that useful, to be that pillar in communities. So what that means is that the balance for me right now is not, oh, I get to go home and play video games and sit there and eat pizza on Sundays. You know, like I can't do that in order to become that person. So balance is all about, first of all, where do you want to go? Right? If you don't have that mapped out, then you're balanced, bro. You're good. You're good. You're right here. You're chilling. You don't got a future goal. Forget about balance. Okay? It doesn't even matter. All right? When you set a future goal, when you get serious about your life, right, then you have to continue to have a balancing act going on. You got to have these conversations with your friends. You got to have these conversations with your employees, with yourself, with your colleagues, right? About, am I being a good human being?
You're a good person, Louise, and so am I.
Am I actually genuinely communicating compassion to my environment? On top of that, am I perceived as a lazy piece of shit, right? Do people actually want me around them? Like when my mom asks me to do something, do I go and do that thing or do I sit around and procrastinate, you know? So the balance really isn't about, oh, career versus life. The balance is about the different parts of ourselves that we want to fit together in order to reach a goal. If we're okay where we're at, right, then the balance is, okay, how much time do I want to spend enjoying my life, enjoying the freedoms of my life, and how much time do I want to spend making sure I have the resources to actually go and do that, right? If that's your goal, totally chill, no problems there. But you got to realize that most of the good things that happen in life happen when we're actually out of balance, right? Most of the good things that happen to us that are valuable lessons are when life is completely out of balance, right? Like we get our heart broken. We work out like crazy. We eat like shit. We get a medical issue, right? Like all of that stuff comes from a lack of balance, but it teaches us so much more. So the ideal shouldn't really be balance, especially in our 20s and when we're younger than in college in general. The ideal should be putting yourself in situations where it's actually hard to be balanced.
When am I gonna learn how to punch?
Learn how to punch. Learn how to keep trying. No! You always have to be behind the ear.
Right? Be out of balance. Learn the lessons from that, and then figure out, okay, overall, not today, not this week, but in this year, have I been balanced? You know what I mean? It can be a momentary thing, or it can be a long-term thing, and I encourage you to think more long-term with it, because it makes life a lot more sensical. There's a lot of gray in life, right? And you can't assume that there's one right way to do things. You have to take these chances. You have to have a difficult time, learn the lesson, fail, whatever it is, and then figure out, okay, over the stretch of time, I learned a couple lessons. I was an absolute doofus when I started out, and now I'm an absolute G. Okay, cool. Am I balanced? Probably not. I'm probably imbalanced, right? I'm less of a doofus and more of a G, right? So at the end of the day, is that a bad thing? I don't know. It's up to you. Where are you going? Right? It doesn't matter. But in that time frame, fine. In the last month, you were a G. Yeah, that's your balance. Okay, fine. The first month, you were a doofus. That's your balance, right? But it's the time frame. I think a lot of people in society don't understand how long it takes to get to balance, because the entire journey is about balance, right? So it's just something to take into consideration when life gets really hard. And believe me, I've had those moments, right? We have to check in with ourselves. We have to really understand how we feel about the people around us, our relationships, our workplace, everything. And the world can come crumbling down. You know, the floor can fall out from underneath our feet. And in those times, we have to be really grateful. But sometimes we just gotta move, you know, and that's not balance. It's just not. As long as you're not spending most of your time not actually helping people, you're probably okay. Like if you're spending most of your time getting high and playing video games, bro, you're not in balance. Like, go and do something useful, you know, like be a useful member of society. If you're spending most of your time every hour of every day volunteering or people pleasing, and you don't have enough time to check in with yourself, you're not balanced, right? Like you're not giving yourself the self-love and the respect that you need to feel like all the stuff that you're doing is worth doing. So it's a matter of, first of all, being okay with that. And second of all, if it does hurt you in the long term, just realize like this too shall pass. Like you have the ability to figure out how to compensate for that, right? And you know what actions to take. It's just a matter of cutting down the idea time and the execution time. When you got no time in between, you're moving, baby. Balance changes altogether. Anyway, hopefully this helps you guys. I make videos about spirituality, business, leadership, you name it, just to inspire as many people as I can. Subscribe to have more of this stuff in your feed. Actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself.